I've been getting asked this question more and more. How do you waterproof your wiper motors? And the short answer is, I don't. You don't need to. That's the beauty of these motors, is the fact that they are meant to sit under your car as you blast through puddles, go through torrential rains. They're meant to get wet and keep on ticking. That's the reason why they're my favorite motor to use when I'm building any of my props. Now, the power supply that runs to that motor has a couple considerations that you need to take into account, but really, it's not rocket surgery. I'm going to take you step by step through how I wire every one of my props, because it's all the same and I've never had an issue with a single one. So let's get started. Step one in this process is where you want to use the most consideration, because AC power can be a pain in the butt and be a bit finicky in the rain. DC power, not so much. So this conversion point is where you want to use the most care. What I do is I get a Rubbermaid tote, and just below where the lid latches on, there's normally a little bit of a depression, and I cut a hole in the side of the tote just big enough to pass through the female end of my extension cord. Once it's in there, you can either plug directly, your power supply directly into that, or in my case, because I'm running multiple props, I plug a power strip into the cord, and then I can power 6 different power supplies off of this one strip. So I'll take all of this, the female end, the power strip, and the 12 volt 5 amp converter, all of them in my case, and I'll keep those nice and neat inside my tote. And then on the other side, just below where the lid latches on, I cut a hole there, and I pass through all of my female ends from the 12 volt power supply, and I pass all those out. That keeps your AC to DC power supply conversion station dry for the most part. Every now and again, if we have a lot of heavy rain, there might be a little condensation in there, but I've never had it trip out on me. If I notice any condensation the next day, I pop the lid off, I let it just air dry for, an hour or so if it's a sunny day, close it back up, never had an issue. Where do we go from here though? Next stop on our power trip is getting our power from here to our PWM, or pulse width modulator, if you want to get geeky about it. The modulator is in charge of regulating the speed in which our prop moves. So, first thing you're going to want to do is get yourself a couple of these. These are just 12 volt DC adapter jacks. You can look them up on Amazon. You can pick up a dozen male and females for under 10 bucks. They're great for making little jumper extension cables and stuff like that for your props. And it just beats hard wiring everything together, twisting them or wire nutting them. These things are great. Well worth a couple bucks. So you want to cut a piece of wire. I have just some 18 gauge speaker wire I picked up from Walmart. Cut a length of wire that goes from your PWM to wherever you're going to be tying in to this. And you can wire directly to your PWM with one end of your wire. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I recommend you check out my video about how to wire windshield wiper motors. I posted it a few videos back from here, and that goes over everything in detail. This is not about that. This is just about waterproofing. So you'll wire directly to your PWM here, and on the other side, you'll put a female jack adapter. And on the back side of this, I put some liquid electrical tape and just globbed it in there. And that's not for waterproofing, because it's not going to trip out on you. But what I found is over the seasons, the wires will corrode and then they'll break off. And if I just put the liquid electrical tape on there, it keeps it from corroding. And just makes them last longer, so I don't have to go chasing little broken wires and dealing with all that while I'm trying to set things up in September. So I recommend hitting it with a little bit of that liquid electrical tape. It'll save you a headache in the future, but if you're only doing it for one season, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do that. So you put one and one together, and now you have power going to your PWM. Now your PWM, as you can see, I got one here. There's lots of fancy parts in there, and I'm no electronics and robotics guy, and I don't know what 99% of all that stuff is, but I do know that probably shouldn't get wet. So what I do is just get one of these little plastic containers here. You can use just a small, like a Glad or Ziploc type of plastic Tupperware container. I think I found these at the dollar store, and I picked up a whole bunch of them just because they're about the right size for a PWM to sit in. And I drilled some holes on the backside and I sent wires going through for the power supply and then wires coming in from the motor on either side there. And then once everything was tied in and I was happy with the way it looked, I just globbed a whole bunch of hot glue all over those holes to then make this waterproof. That is pretty much the whole operation, because from here this way is already waterproof. That's your wiper motor. All of this stuff, it can be soaked out in the rain, it can get covered in snow. You don't have to worry about that. Your only 2 points of worry are your PWM and your AC to DC power supply conversion station, or whatever you want to call it. So I hope that helped you guys out as far as what you need to do for waterproofing. Really, it's not much at all, so don't let that be something that's holding you back from giving your props life. So get out there, build, make it move. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'll be more than happy to help. And if you're an electronics and robotics guy and you want to explain to me what the hell all this stuff is, or correct me on anything I misspoke about, feel free to drop a comment in the section below and teach me a little something. All right, take care, guys.